Have you ever wondered how to get most people that book on your sales calendar to actually get them to show up virtually at 100% show up rate? Well, I've observed over the years as a marketing and business growth implementation company over 22,000 sales calls. And in this video, I want to break down for you 16 different tweaks that are very easy that you can make in your campaign of marketing and sales to ensure that qualified appointments that book on your calendar actually show up. But first, I want to address the customer journey, the elephant in the room. See, most people aren't aware of the real problem, and that is your ideal client. Where are they actually in the customer journey? Based on your service of what you can help them with, from moving them either to an unfulfilled desire or away from a pain point, what your service delivers, are they in an unaware situation, meaning does the prospect not even know they have a problem? And the only way to overcome that is through stories. Are they problem aware but not solution aware? Or do they actually know the solution exists but don't know if you're the right fit? Or are they product aware or most aware of you and that you have the solution? All these is the groundwork that needs to be laid out before actual appointments booked on your calendar, and they do have an impact in terms of how somebody or even shows up in the first place to actually want to meet with you. Here's the thing. We really have hit a market saturation. We are in a complete trust recession. Nobody trusts anybody anymore. And the first knee-jerk reaction that you get, this is a scam. Even if you're the best company out there doing the right thing, some people will just hit you with, this is a scam. So, and this comes even from a psychological factor called the mere exposure effect. Naturally, most humans have an aversion to something new or they've never seen before. It's like danger. So how do we kind of overcome that? There's high skepticism. And the other thing that I want to talk about is stop asking for marriage. No man that's even a good man with good values, who's single, who wants to find a wife, walks into a bar and says to someone without anything, "Hi, how you going? My name is such and such. Do you want to get married? Or do you want to go out next week, Tuesday, for dinner?" It's too fast. Yet I see this time and time again with business owners that run ads that don't know what they don't know. So they run ads talking about their service, all about themselves, and they essentially go, book in for a chat with me. It is that dating that's missing to bridge the know, like, and trust factor. So we want to know how to build trust, and don't be a douchebag, right? So many people I see are quite aggressive in their marketing on how they talk to people without kind of having that spirited customer service they should have in being helpful. And if you can help, and if they need your help, fantastic. So being in such a low trust environment and with such high skepticism, we kind of want to understand, how can we reverse that? How do you filter leads so the ideal client profile, your dream client, rises to the top? Here's a few things to consider. Create friction on the front end. Go for less lead volume, which means don't try and put everything on what does the lead cost. Time and time again, I see business owners that look at how can I get the lowest cost lead, opposed to how can I get a more quality lead on the front end. So it's about the copywriting in understanding how to communicate through either stories and analogies that you can actually move the needle for your prospect to get them from A to B. And quite often that starts with something like a lead generation magnet. This can, now just to be clear, when people say to me lead generation magnets don't work anymore, that is true for something that you put out there that's not interesting and doesn't really solve a problem. Often when I see a lead magnet not working, it's because the lead magnet is terrible. And so of course it doesn't work. But if I'm a keen fisherman and there's going to be a lead magnet around my hometown, which rivers, which are the best spots to go to, where are the most fish, I'm going to download that report because it speaks to me, which brings me to the WIIFM radio station, which is what's in it for me. Too many business owners talk about themselves opposed to coming from a view of the client, what's in it for them. So in kind of understanding this, you've got this client journey happening. So the unaware is they don't even know they've got a problem. And so you have to first of all make them aware, because no matter how much you put your solution out there, if they don't perceive to have a problem, it's not going to resonate. It's not going to get their attention. And remember, marketing at its simplest form, like dating or human relationships, is awareness, know you exist, engagement, know, like, and trust, and of course, conversion. Well, client, marriage, whatever. So unaware, don't even know they've got a problem. Problem aware, they know they've got a problem, but they may not know that even a solution exists. And again, you can overcome that through story-based marketing, so they can see themselves in that story, like the hero's journey, to be able to understand there is a solution and what that looks like. For those that are solution aware are now looking at providers to become product aware. And most aware is when they've had plenty of touch points and there's no like and trust factor built. Now I'm going through all of this because all this plays into a higher show rate. Now I'm still going to give you in a moment all the simple tweaks you can do, but I thought it's worth mentioning holistically that there's more than just an ad or booking someone on a calendar. There are parts that need to fit together. Everything is an overarching theme that needs to work together in a unison. So like I said, create friction on the front end. Frame your consultation. Don't just put, people are so aware now with market saturation that they're really sort of getting very concerned about booking in where they feel like they're just going to get pitched for 45 minutes. So flip that around and frame the consultation. Genuinely, I'm talking about make it educational. In our company, as a marketing and a business growth implementation company, we want to provide value no matter what. So if somebody comes on a call with us, we're going to give them a free marketing demo. We're going to go through their business, identify where their roadblocks are, make them aware of blind spots, and then give them a roadmap. Now, if for some percentage they want us to help them implement that, fantastic. But at minimum, I want people leaving the call feeling good that they now understand their position and what it takes to get from point A to point B and what the steps are required. That's a win-win for everyone. So change around the way you position your strategy calls, whether you make it a free demo, a gift, a success plan, a blueprint, a design, whatever it might be, depending on your service-based industry. Now, the other thing that you want to think about is speed to lead. Now, everyone's heard this before. Everyone's heard about the 5-minute shot clock. And that usually pertains to a new lead coming in and an appointment setter calling that lead very quickly because the percentage drops off about converting them. Well, what people don't think about is if you have somebody that books in for an appointment with you, we have created a Slack integration in my team that any new appointment that gets booked in, straight away the salesperson that's been assigned to immediately gets a Slack message so they can call that person and thank them for booking in, have a little bit of a chat and build some rapport about understanding why they booked in, what they're hoping to gain, and to just briefly kind of mention what the call is going to be about and what value it's going to bring. And of course, if we can help and if there's a fit, sure, we'll talk about possible next steps and if that's where they want to go. But that is something that we found very valuable with show-up rates is speed to lead in terms of speed to bookings. The other part is make sure that if you have a booking calendar, try and keep it constrained to just 72 hours or less, so 3 days or less. I remember years ago, I was so busy, we booked in 3 weeks in advance, and I sat back as a business owner thinking, oh goodness, this is amazing. I'm fully booked for the next month. Tell my friends, tell everyone. What happened is that those appointments, nobody showed up because it was so far in the future. They'd forgotten about it. Things changed. Whatever emotion they felt at the time is gone. And it was almost like a 10% show rate. Like it was terrible. So I really learned from that. Don't make that mistake. If you do get a lot of bookings and some of them appear to be low quality, or let's just say you're trying to engage with them, but they're not engaging with you. In other words, you've got an appointment reminder sequence where there's some text messages or something and they're not responding. Well, simply mark that booking free and allow another booking for the same time slot. Especially if you're really busy with a 72-hour window, if you cannot get somebody that has booked in, that's not engaging with you, that's already a danger sign. If you've got a text message going out, hey, thanks for booking in. I've just sent you out some pre-meeting material to go over, XYZ. Make sure if that happens and they're not responding back, that's an alarm bell. You really want to double down on trying to give them a call. If they're just ghosting you, more than likely they're not going to show up. So at minimum, set it the appointment free. Why free? Because that allows someone to book over the top of that. And if both of them do indicate to show up, you can get an appointment setter or another person to help you out for that call. But more than likely, that way, usually one of the two will show up and you've got an increase there as well. Have also an attractive consult agenda. We just already covered that before. Really come from a value-based perspective. Education is king. Education, as a byproduct, positions you as the expert. If you can be on a strategy call, once you get there and you position it that way, the byproduct is much more valuable for them to want to be on the call if they get something out of it, opposed to feeling like you want to get something out of it, which is a sale. Also include in your reminder sequences, not just emails, but texts. And use text like you would in everyday language. I always say to my team, if there's a certain phrase they use, my question always is, would you use that phrase with a friend? Or would that sound odd? And if it sounds odd, don't talk to a potential prospect that way. If you're sending out text messages, say, confirming booked in with me for, tomorrow at 10 a.m. Did you get the pre-meeting material? ? Always try and get engagement through questions. If they respond, yes, got it, respond back. Fantastic, see you tomorrow. It straight away frames, these are really strong indicators. Confirm the day prior with a phone call. Just saying, hey, just looking at confirming my schedule for tomorrow. Are we still okay? Does tomorrow still work? That's all. Just have a quick chat. All these touch points help a lot. The other part I would say is use an appointment setter. Like we hire from the Philippines. I've been working with Filipinos for well over 8 years. I'm in Australia, so the time zone difference is perfect. They're just a few hours behind us. They love it. We pay them $6 Australian an hour, which is great for us. It's a lot of money for them. You need to be able to give sales training on how to call, how to disarm, how to use tonality. They can confirm meetings for you. A very quick kind of thing here. You can use onlinejobs.ph. It's like Seek in Australia. You can place a job there to want to hire someone. Do it yourself. Don't go through a third-party company. We've tried it. It works out terrible. And what they do is you find that they charge you quite a premium on the hourly rate, and then you kind of discover that the person you've hired only gets a tiny amount. And I would rather, as a business owner, make sure that they get all the money and not just a fraction of it. Have a hiring process as well for your appointments that are like, don't worry about resumes. Get a voice recording, give them a script and ask them to record, right? So that already cuts out most, because whenever we post an ad, we get like 200 applications. But as soon as we respond back to them and ask them with a script to do a recording, you might only end up with 20 or 30. And just listen to the recording. Do they sound like they live next door? Do they sound very conversational? Do they sound like, you can actually understand them really clearly what they're saying, right? Forget Filipinos. There's plenty of Australians I wouldn't hire because I listen to them. I can't understand what they're saying and it's terrible. So just make sure you go off voice recordings. That's the best way to hire. So this is the part really important in relation to hiring an appointment setter. I cannot recommend this any more than it's one of the biggest lever that you can pull at a low cost. And a good appointment setter will do hundreds of dials, speak with your leads, engage with them, put a human in front of everything, not just the automation or just some emails, and they do a wonderful job at being able to double your appointments from the same lead flow without spending an extra cent on marketing. And then they'll also help you with making sure your show rate increases a lot. And that also can help you with activation of your old leads or old clients. Now, on a separate matter, this last point here, use an audit and a video prior to the call to make your prospects more problem aware if need be. So sometimes what you can do is some people, what they do wrong, they send out lots of materials to the leading up to the call. Social proof, all these things. We don't do any of that. Instead, what we do is social proof we reserve to if we can help them. That's the first thing we want to find out. And if we can, we'll make a recommendation through a presentation with the steps on how to get them to from A to B. And then after that, if they're considering our proposal, then we'll send them social proof because it makes sense. We've said we can help, and we want to show some examples of clients that may be similar in nature of how we've helped them. So before the call, we're not going to send them any social proof because we don't even know whether we can help them yet. Instead, we want to make them more problem aware, which is going to cover some things inside the meeting. Let me show you an example from us. Here's an example of one of our sequences. When somebody books a call, we'll have, hi, name, your Zoom marketing success strategy call has been confirmed, a Zoom link. And so that to get the most of our time together, we strongly recommend going through the below training, just so you get an understanding of how we help our clients to implement an optimal selling system so we can guarantee clients. Watch it here. They then go over to this page here and they'll see a video that they can watch, and then they complete a business audit, which makes them more aware and gives us more information. Whenever somebody, and most people fill in this business audit, nearly everybody shows up because it makes them more aware about their shortcomings. See, most people come to us because they think they've got a lead gen problem, but that's just one part of the equation. So in here, we ask them, do you have a research and written down ideal client profile? Do you have an irresistible offer? If it is, what is it? Do you successfully run paid media? Do you use a marketing tool? Do you have follow-up emails? Do you have an appointment setter? Do you have an automatic booking calendar? Do you have reminder sequences? Do you have automatic tasking systems, sales process scripted out that are not for referrals but for strangers? Do you have a marketing and sales tracker? Do you know your live sales calls, your cost per acquisition, your ROAS, your lead cost per lead, your book calls? All these things, do you know what they are? Do you know what your max profitable CPA on your P&L is? In relation to your COGS, GP, and NP, we ask all these questions of business owners that makes them more aware of the things that they haven't considered or know, and then we cover those inside the meeting so they at minimum walk away with a clear understanding. And so then after the meeting, now they're problem aware and we've given a solution, then we can push out more content, like more YouTube content, like, for example, testimonials and case studies for them to understand a bit better and to get more social proof. I hope this helps in understanding that in order to improve show-up rate, it is often just quite a symptom of the larger picture of the overarching theme of your marketing, sales, and fulfillment. And if you have an understanding of that and solve these pieces there in relation to your ideal client profile, the irresistible offer, and the entire marketing theme that exists, then you can build a more robust structure in terms of the booking, the qualification questions that make sure that you're not wasting people's times either by getting them on a sales call. But when you do get them on a sales call, consultation, or however you want to coin it, then at least make sure that your consultants or salespeople are actually skilled in providing some actual value and some education that goes beyond just trying to sell them. And by putting all the other parts in place in terms of canceling people out that are not a fit, communicating with them early, by double bookings, by having an appointment setter, by doing all these aspects and points, you will see your show-up rate absolutely skyrocket to 85% and above. Hope this video helps you in relation to more business information, sales training, appointment setting, or any of those aspects of client fulfillment. Hit the subscribe button, give us a follow, and I'll see you inside the next video.